Lower creatinine fast with these 5 kidney-friendly foods. You get your blood test results back, and there it is. A number next to the word creatinine that your doctor says is too high. You are not sure what it means, but something about it does not feel right. Your kidneys are trying to tell you something. The good news is, what you eat every single day can make a real difference, and you do not need a complicated plan to start seeing results. In this video, you will discover 5 simple kidney-friendly foods that can help bring your creatinine levels down naturally, starting with what is already in most kitchens. Let's start with something you probably already have sitting in your kitchen right now. Olive oil. Nothing fancy, nothing expensive. Just that familiar bottle you reach for when you're cooking dinner on a Tuesday evening. But here is the thing most people never realize: that simple bottle might be doing more good for your kidneys than you know. When creatinine levels start creeping up, one of the biggest reasons is that the kidneys are under stress. And a lot of that stress comes from inflammation quietly building up inside the body over time. Think of inflammation like a slow burn happening in the background. You can't always feel it, but your kidneys certainly feel the pressure of it. When the body is in that state, the kidneys have to work harder than they should, and over time, that extra workload shows up in your numbers. This is where olive oil earns its place on this list. Olive oil contains something called oleocanthal, which works in the body in a way that helps calm that internal burn down. It supports a healthier environment for your kidneys to function in without putting any additional strain on them. Unlike a lot of cooking oils that can contribute to inflammation when used regularly, olive oil works in the opposite direction. It is gentle on the body and genuinely supportive of kidney function over time. Now, practical matters, because that is what actually makes a difference in real life. Swapping your regular cooking oil for olive oil is honestly one of the easiest changes you can make. Use it to sauté vegetables, drizzle it over a salad, or stir it through cooked food once it comes off the heat. Around 1 to 2 tablespoons a day is a realistic and sensible amount for most people. You do not need to drown your food in it. Just consistent, moderate use as part of your everyday cooking is enough to make it count. The key word there is consistent. One good meal does not move the needle. A small, steady habit over weeks and months absolutely does. Before we move on, I want to ask you something. Are you watching this because a doctor recently handed you a lab result with a creatinine number that felt alarming and you walked out of that appointment not really knowing what to do next? If that sounds familiar, you are in exactly the right place. Drop the 1 in the comments right now so I know you are here and paying attention. And if you want to keep getting honest, practical content about supporting your kidney health naturally, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. New videos go up regularly, and every single one is made with you in mind. Now, if olive oil surprised you by being on this list, the next food is going to surprise you even more. It is something most people walk straight past in the supermarket without giving it a second thought, but for your kidneys, it is genuinely worth stopping for. That unremarkable vegetable sitting quietly on the supermarket shelf. The one most people walk straight past on their way to something more exciting. That is cabbage. And if you have been overlooking it, your kidneys would probably appreciate a second chance for it. Cabbage. Here is something worth understanding about how the kidneys work. Every single day, they are filtering waste, balancing fluids, and processing everything that comes through your body from the food you eat. When certain minerals build up in the bloodstream at levels the kidneys struggle to manage, that filtration process becomes harder and slower. 2 of the biggest culprits are potassium and phosphorus. Both are found in high amounts in many common healthy foods, which creates a frustrating situation for anyone trying to eat well while also protecting their kidneys. Cabbage quietly solves that problem. It is naturally low in both potassium and phosphorus, which means your kidneys can handle it without being pushed into overdrive. At the same time, it is genuinely filling, packed with fiber, and full of vitamins that support the body more broadly. You are not making a compromise by eating cabbage. You are actually getting a lot of nutritional value without adding to the burden your kidneys are already carrying. And the ways to eat it are far more enjoyable than most people expect. Raw cabbage shredded into a simple coleslaw with a little olive oil, and lemon is fresh, satisfying, and takes about 5 minutes to put together. Lightly steamed cabbage alongside a main meal adds bulk and texture without heaviness. Stir it through soups, layer it into wraps, or cook it gently in a pan with a little garlic, and it becomes something genuinely tasty rather than something you are forcing yourself to eat for health reasons. That last point matters more than it might seem. Sustainable habits are ones you can actually live with. If eating for your kidneys feels like deprivation, it will not last. Cabbage proves that kidney-friendly eating can be satisfying, versatile, and even something you start to look forward to. Speaking of ingredients that work beautifully alongside cabbage in the kitchen, the next food on this list does exactly that. It is small, pungent, and most people already cook with it regularly without realizing just how much their kidneys stand to benefit from it. So you have got olive oil doing its quiet work in the pan, cabbage adding genuine substance to your meals, and now we are adding something that most people already reach for without thinking twice. Garlic. That small, papery clove sitting in a bowl on your kitchen counter that somehow finds its way into almost everything you cook. What most people do not realize is that while they are adding garlic purely for flavor, they are also doing something genuinely useful for their kidneys at the same time. Here is the connection. When the body is under prolonged internal stress, it triggers a chain reaction that puts extra pressure on the kidneys. That pressure interferes with how efficiently they filter waste from the blood, and over time, that shows up as elevated creatinine. Garlic contains natural compounds that help the body manage that internal stress more effectively. It supports healthier circulation, helps reduce the kind of low-level internal tension that quietly strains the kidneys, and encourages the body to work with a little more ease rather than constantly pushing against resistance. That is a significant amount of work from something so small. Now, a concern that comes up often is that garlic is simply too strong for everyday use, too sharp, too overpowering, too likely to linger in ways that feel uncomfortable. And that is a completely fair observation. But the good news is that how you prepare garlic changes everything about how it feels in a meal. Raw garlic is indeed intense. But garlic that has been gently cooked becomes mellow, almost sweet, and far easier to enjoy regularly. Crushing a clove into warm olive oil at the start of cooking softens it beautifully. Roasting a whole bulb in the oven transforms it into something almost creamy that can be spread or stirred through dishes without any sharpness at all. Even garlic powder used lightly in seasoning carries meaningful benefits without the boldness of the raw version. The goal is not to overwhelm your meals. It is simply to include garlic in some form, consistently, as part of how you already cook. Small and steady, just like the progress your kidneys make when you start giving them what they need. And on that note, the next food on this list is one that brings something entirely different to the table, quite literally. Radishes. If someone had told you at the start of this video that radishes would be on this list, there is a good chance you might have raised an eyebrow. They are not the first thing that comes to mind when people think about kidney health. They are small, often overlooked, and for many people they have been sitting at the edge of a salad bowl their entire lives without ever getting much attention. But your kidneys would genuinely disagree with that assessment. Here is what makes radishes worth paying attention to. The kidneys are constantly working to filter waste products out of the blood and move them out of the body through urine. When that process slows down or becomes less efficient, waste builds up, creatinine rises, and the kidneys come under increasing pressure. What radishes do is support that natural flushing process in a way that is gentle, consistent, and genuinely helpful over time. They have a natural diuretic quality, meaning they encourage the body to move fluid and waste through more efficiently without forcing the process or stressing the kidneys further. They also contain compounds that support liver function, and the liver and kidneys work closely together in the body's overall waste management system. When both are supported, the whole process runs more smoothly. What makes radishes even more appealing is how straightforward they are to include in everyday eating. Raw and thinly sliced, they add a satisfying crunch to a simple salad alongside cabbage and a drizzle of olive oil, which means two of the foods from this list are already working together in one bowl. Chopped into small pieces and added to a light soup, they soften nicely and absorb surrounding flavors without disappearing entirely. Pickled radishes, prepared simply at home, make a bright and easy side that keeps well in the fridge for several days, giving you something ready to reach for without any daily effort. They are also inexpensive, widely available, and require no complicated preparation. That matters because realistic habits are ones that fit into real life without extra cost or complexity. If what you are learning in this video is genuinely shifting how you think about your kidney health, please take just a moment to hit that like button. It costs you nothing, but what it does is quietly powerful. That one small tap tells the platform that this information is worth sharing, and it puts this video in front of someone else who may be sitting at home right now, worried about a creatinine reading, feeling overwhelmed and not knowing where to start. They may not have found this yet. Your like could be what gets it to them. That is not a small thing. That is one person's health journey potentially changing because of 1 second of your time. Affordable, accessible, and quietly powerful. That theme runs right through this entire list. And it continues with the fifth and final food, which might just be the most refreshing addition of all. After olive oil, cabbage, garlic, and radishes, the fifth food on this list might feel like the gentlest addition of all. But do not let that gentleness fool you. Cucumber belongs here just as much as everything that came before it, and for reasons that go deeper than most people realize. Let's talk about hydration for a moment, because it is one of the most important and most underestimated factors in kidney health. Your kidneys depend on fluid to do their job properly. Every time they filter waste from the blood, they need adequate hydration to move that waste efficiently through the system and out of the body. When fluid levels drop, even mildly and regularly throughout the day, the kidneys slow down. Waste lingers longer than it should. Creatinine builds up, and the kidneys end up working harder to compensate for something that could have been easily avoided. Most people know they should drink more water, but knowing and actually doing it consistently are two very different things. Many people find plain water unappealing after a certain point in the day, or simply forget to drink enough when life gets busy. That is where cucumber steps in as something genuinely practical, rather than just another health recommendation that sounds simple but feels difficult in reality. Cucumber is made up almost entirely of water. Eating it throughout the day contributes meaningfully to your fluid intake without you having to think about it as a separate task. It keeps the system moving gently and steadily, supporting the kidneys in a way that feels effortless because it genuinely is. Beyond its water content, cucumber is also naturally low in potassium and phosphorus, much like cabbage, which means it adds to your daily food intake without placing additional pressure on the kidneys. It is cooling, easy to digest, and carries a quiet anti-inflammatory quality that fits naturally alongside everything else on this list. Including it is simple: sliced into a salad, eaten alongside a meal as a light side, or added to a jug of water for those who prefer something with a little flavor. Cucumber works without effort or inconvenience. And that really is the thread connecting all 5 of these foods together. None of them require a dramatic overhaul of how you eat. Each one is ordinary, affordable, and already within reach. Small, consistent choices made day after day are what actually move the needle when it comes to creatinine and kidney health. Not perfection, not extreme diets. Just steady, thoughtful habits built around foods that genuinely support your body. You have just spent time learning about 5 foods that most people walk past every single day without giving a second thought. And yet, each one of them has something genuinely valuable to offer the kidneys. That is worth sitting with for a moment. Olive oil calms the internal pressure that makes the kidneys work harder than they need to. Cabbage brings real nutritional value to your plate without loading the kidneys with minerals they struggle to process. Garlic supports the body's circulation and eases the kind of internal tension that quietly shows up in your creatinine numbers over time. Radishes encourage the body's natural waste removal process in a way that is gentle but consistent. And cucumbers keep the whole system moving with steady, effortless hydration every single day. 5 foods. All ordinary, all affordable, all already available to you. That is not a coincidence, and it is not a shortcut. It is simply what genuine, sustainable kidney support actually looks like in practice. Not dramatic. Not complicated. Just small, steady choices repeated often enough to make a real difference. Here is the most important thing to take away from everything covered in this video. Your kidneys are working for you every single hour of every single day. They do not take a break. They do not ask for much. But they do respond quietly and gradually to the way you treat them. When you start giving them food that supports rather than strains them, they notice. Your creatinine levels can reflect that over time, and so can how you feel in your daily life. You do not need to change everything at once. Picking just one food from this list and finding a simple, realistic way to include it in your meals this week is already a step in the right direction. One step leads to another. That is how lasting habits are actually built. If this video gave you something useful today, something you will carry into your kitchen or share with someone you care about, please take a second to give it a like. It genuinely helps more people find this content when they need it most. And if you want to keep learning about how to support your kidney health in honest, straightforward ways, subscribing means you will not miss what comes next. One last thing before you go. Think about someone in your life right now. A parent, a sibling, a close friend, someone you have noticed looking tired or swollen or quietly struggling with their health. There is a real chance they have no idea that the food sitting in their own kitchen could be making a meaningful difference to their kidneys right now. Sharing this video with them takes 10 seconds. What it gives them could be far more valuable than that. If someone you care about needs this information, please send it their way today. You might be doing more for their health than you realize. Your kidneys have been quietly looking after you for years. Now you know a little more about how to look after them back.